Okay, eyelashes. When I'm looking at this picture, this photograph of the little girl, this little girl has unusually long, dark eyelashes. And yet, I don't see long strokes. I just see little wisps that come up from a line that is formed when the eyelashes grow out straight towards me in my direction and then turn up at the ends. So when I paint eyelashes, I concentrate on darkening this line that I call the lash line. And her line goes like so. And the lashes themselves are very wispy, and they grow in sort of in clumps where their tips seem to crisscross and meet in every so often. So here's a clump, 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 clump. There's a little one there and a little one there. So when I paint eyelashes, I make fine strokes and I work on creating 5 or 6 little peaks with very fine tips, and then fill in with some shorter ones in between. The lower lashes are very light, so I concentrate the color along the lower lash line and paint very wispy lashes from that. And these lower lashes also tend to crisscross, and they don't all just go in the same direction. They kind of meet and crisscross and form little clumps. That's how I like to paint eyelashes when I'm painting a realistic look. This little girl, she doesn't have as pronounced eyelids, younger child, and you can see very little of her eyelashes above that line. So this is what I really want to stress. Also on the lower lashes, you see this line. You see very little in the way of eyelashes. So we're not going to paint realistic children the way the antique dolls are painted, with exaggerated eyelashes that come down on the face. We're going to keep them very subtle, very wispy, and in some cases just we won't even try to paint them at all because we don't want them to look unnatural. Be back in a minute. Here's another photo. Here's a clump, 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 and then some lashes here and there in between. Very light, wispy lower lashes. Clump, 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 clump. Clump, 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 clump. Be right back. Okay, painting eyelashes. I'm going to use some of these colors that I mixed up for the eyebrows. And if I start with this burnt umber, you remember it's a very light color. I can kind of practice with the first layer and refine it when I add some black on the next layer. So I'm going to do just like I did on the eyebrows. Load the brush, use some retarder, then into the color, and drag it on the towel. And starting where we want the most color, that'll be along the edge, along the line. Where do I want the clumps? I'll paint one lash to represent a clump, and another clump here, one here, and one here, and one there. I'm taking care to make sure that the tips are not blunt, but very wispy. Like disappearing at the tip, not coming to a sudden stop. Okay, now paint a second hair that joins the first hair. It's a little tricky painting over that crease where the eyelid ends. I'm going to put a little bit of shadow down into that crease right now with this color. I'm going to keep deepening that crease as I go. Okay, then I'm going to pull some strokes. I think I'll put a little bit more paint now along that lash line so I can pull some of that paint out. And make some shorter strokes in between the clumps. They're shorter, but some of them will come up above the line. And what we want to achieve is a natural look, not a mechanical, evenly spaced look, but a little bit of a irregular, feathery look of the real eyelashes. And most of the detail is going to be seen up here at the tips, because this part is going to be fairly dense. I'll just keep building up more color there. What I am painting now is actually kind of a shadow. It's going to I don't know, let's see. can see that this along this line, except for the very tips, it's just dense and black. So I'm filling in this area that's just going to be very eventually dense and dark, the way that photograph is. But I'm just gradually building up to that, giving myself practice on painting these lashes. One, two, three, four, 5. 1, 2, 3. This is all good practice, even though these strokes will really not be clearly visible when I'm done painting this. I'm just getting more comfortable with this wispy, fine stroke. Load the brush again. Water, medium. The water evaporates, and it's good to have some in your brush for the flow. And so the paint will dry a little faster. It's okay to skip the lower lashes altogether if you haven't quite mastered the fine feathery strokes, because it's better to not just have a suggestion of the lashes defined by this lower lash line than to have lashes that are too distinct and don't look natural. Many people have very light eyelashes that can't be seen in a photograph. And what we're going for is photographic realism. So it's okay not to paint the eyelashes if they're not easily seen, or the eyebrows. Oops. That's the first round on eyelashes. Let's see if my camera will let me zoom in a little bit. It's hard to see when they're so wispy. Hopefully you can see them on your monitor or whatever you're looking at this with. I'll take a break and be back with the second round. Now I want to do a quick demo with pencil and paper to kind of review and clarify some of the things I've been talking about with regard to painting eyelashes. I like to think about, when I'm painting eyelashes, actually how the eyelashes are growing out of the lash line here, and that helps me to direct the strokes the way they need to go. The eyelashes have a curve to them. They curve down and up. So we can see the tips as they curve up. They're not straight lines like so, like so. They're not evenly spaced. So we talked about the clumps. One way I used to teach that was to do 3 strokes for each clump. So it would go like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Changing the direction. Of course, the 3-dimensional porcelain is not going to let you make those strokes like I'm making a pencil line. But just thinking about how they grow is helpful, I think. I don't want you to think, now this other eye, the eyelashes right above the iris appear to be growing straight up. But of course they're not. They curve up like so. And then clump together. And then they fan out as they go out to the side. And then you might want to practice this with a pencil to get the basic idea, get a feel for eyelashes. You want them to be a little bit irregular in the direction that they grow, but it should be a natural direction, curving in the right direction. I've seen people actually try to curve them in the wrong direction, or there's lots of mistakes that people make when they're not quite understanding and thinking about how the eyelashes grow. So, hope that's helpful. Be back soon. Okay, what I have here is, it's almost all black. I think it's got some of that sienna brown, but I've added quite a bit of black, so what I see is just a light black, maybe, because it's watered down quite a bit. And I'm going to try that on the next bit. Water, retarder, and a little bit of paint in the tip. And let's see. Since it is pretty watery, it's not going to make a very dark line. And darken that line again. And then go over those lashes. And I'm not going to bring, and most of the time I'm going to leave the tips as they are, so I don't end up with thick black lashes at the ends. I want them to be wispy at the ends and thick at the base. So I'm actually applying the paint to the base mainly. I added paint to the line, and then I'm pulling strokes out of that line, kind of following the strokes that we put on before. The little clumps. The strokes are slightly curved. I'm deepening the crease just in this middle portion here, not at the ends. I'm going to load my brush again, getting dry. Beefing up the base of the lashes, the line and the base, just the base. That might be done. Or I might just add a little bit darker black in here and darken the base of the lashes on the next layer. Or maybe I'll just do it now. This is pretty dense paint. I think I can just add a little bit more. It's dry enough already that I think I can just come back and darken the base of the lashes. Okay, that's a basic eyelash technique for fairly dark eyelashes. Be back with more. Stay tuned.